All right, Pirate fans, welcome out to another episode of the Pirates Cove podcast. This is episode number 33. That's right, I said 33. We're getting up there. And today it's Wednesday evening, so of course we talk Rockport-Fulton Pirates football and volleyball. We have no guests today. The guests that were scheduled had a game. The girls, the two volleyball players that we had coming on tonight, the game was canceled due to the weather on Tuesday, so they rescheduled it for today. So they couldn't come on, obviously. So they will be back with us next Wednesday. We will have Rockport Fulton varsity volleyball players Kaylee Skinner and Lauren Moore will be here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock to talk 2021 Rockport Fulton Lady Pirates volleyball. So it's going to be interesting. Tune into that next Wednesday. But for tonight, I got my full crew in full effect. We're all here. We got the Z-Man, Johnny Zavala. Johnny, how you doing, sir?
Doing good.
There you go. And then we got the coach, Mr. Steve Cantu. How you doing, coach?
Hey, blessed brother. Happy to be here.
Then we got Big T, Tony Pena. How you doing, T?
Doing good. I'm ready to go. Let's get it.
Let's get it. And I'm the host, Gabriel Trevino. So we're here. We're going to break down the Rockport-Fulton. We're going to start off by breaking down the Rockport-Fulton Pirates, a Tuloso-Midway Warrior football game that was played this past Friday. It was a great game. I got a couple of things to say about this game, but we'll start off breaking down the offense. I'll go to Coach Steve Cantu first. Coach, your thoughts on the game, the offensive side of the ball?
Well, I mean, it was pretty apparent, I'm sure, to everybody. Let me slow it up. You know what I'm saying? Let me back up just a little bit. So I walk into Pirate Stadium the other night, and I'm sitting at the gate, and a good friend of mine walks up, and he's like, "Hey, listen, we're looking for some volunteers to do the sticks. Would you help? Best seat in the house. Blah 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 blah. Everything else, you know who you are too. Not gonna mention any names, but so I'm like, okay, hey, listen, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna go help out. So my vantage point was from the opponent's sideline on the chain. So that's how I watched the game. So let's just put that out there. So best seat in the house. Wink, wink. I mean, it's pretty apparent. I mean, the boys didn't put their best foot forward offensively. Turnovers were they showed their faces. Very first possession, and maybe the second and the third. I mean, it was crazy. So I mean, it was tough sled from there. I think the boys really never got on their stride. They're always playing from behind, trying to make up for their last play. You know what I'm saying? And I can relate. I know how kids think. It's tough for them to get past that last play where they made that mistake. And that's what I saw. I saw kids that were trying to not make the same mistake that they had just made. And you can't play a game like that. You can't go through 4 quarters like that. You got to, forget about it and go on to the next play. You got to really check it out of your mind. And our boys struggled with that. They didn't do that. They didn't let it go. They continued to play to try to make up for the mistake that they made the last time. And that's not how, I guarantee you, that wasn't the coach's game plan. So, we come out, it's tough sledding for them. I mean, had scrambling around, they did enough scrambling around to make plays and to be there in good spots and to recover these turnovers. Not one that we fumbled, that we recovered. So everything that we put on the turf, on the ground, they picked up. So they were being opportunistic and made plays, and you gotta give them that. I mean, honestly.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach Steve, I'll ask you, what did you think of the of Aces? How, in your thoughts, in your mind, how did Ace play this game?
Well, you know what? I think Ace, he struggled a little bit. I mean, they were, schematically, those guys were pretty easy. You look at them and the blocking was set up there. But we were making mistakes. I mean, to be honest, the offensive line was making mistakes. There were some miscues and then some obvious miscommunication between the players. And the blocking scheme was off because Ace had people in his face. Every play, he had people in his face. So there was some obvious breakdown in the offensive line communication as far as, who got who. And so they were definitely doing something different that our boys weren't used to seeing. And so Ace was forced into scramble mode, and moving around a bit with the ball. But overall, I think Ace played well. He was able to make some timely connections when he had to. But there was some of that, some backsliding there to that freshman year that I saw where he might have held the ball a little bit too long. But I mean, or ran a little soon. But I mean, it's tough when you got guys in your face. Downset hut, 1, 2, you don't even get to 3, and there's some pressure. So I mean, and you got to take your hat off, TM. They were in scramble mode. It seemed like every down, and they're in our faces, and that makes for a sloppy game.
Tony, before I go to you, I want you to talk about the offense. You hear Steve saying, we struggle a little bit on the line. There were some penalties. There were some huge penalties, big runs. John Chupi had a big run. I can just recall off my head, right? Just thinking back to the game, and it was called back, and that hurts. It takes the momentum away. So before you break your game down, talk a little bit about the offense. What was your thoughts on the offense and the penalties that were coming from our offensive line? Something that we didn't see in game 1, week 1, and week 2. Definitely a difference in week 3.
Well, this is what I'll say. Just to start off, I think we all anticipated, and I'm pretty sure the fans anticipated, for Rockport to come out and score 70 points. I'm pretty sure that's why we're saying that they didn't come out the way they should have come out. See, what happened is TM's defense came out to play smash mouth football. I'll tell you what, that D line was giving our guys trouble on the front. That linebacker, I don't know his name, number 47, he was in every play. He was causing havoc. We could not get him pinned down, and I don't know why. I don't know if they knew about him before, but from what I saw in the stands, number 47 was in every play. Uh, so I think that there was some mental breakdowns with the penalties. And I know Devin had a few big runs, John had a few big runs. Luke had the fumble. That looked bad because that's not what we used to see out of Rockport. And once you get into the third week, those kind of mistakes need to quit happening, or they need to be less. Uh, but what it looked like to me is I'm pretty sure the boys thought they were going to score 70 points. And when you go out there and you get hit in the mouth by a team that's not supposed to be good, they were told that this was the best team they faced so far. They knew that. They knew that TM going into the game was the toughest team they faced so far. They knew that. But I'm pretty sure in their head, we're going to go out there and score 70 points, and it didn't happen. And I think that's part of the mental breakdown. Why can't we score? Why can't we score? Ace scrambled around and he made some great tosses. Did he hold on to the ball sometimes too long? I think so. I think that I could think of a play where he probably ran back 30 yards. I don't know what it was, but it was quite a bit. But for the most part, when he scrambled, he made some big plays happen. That's what we need against a good defense, because TM's not a good defense. They just came out and played real physical. They're not a good defense. They just came out and played more physical than we did on the front, and that middle linebacker was causing havoc. I don't know whose assignment he was, but he was in every play. I just think that that mentally is what caused the issues. You know what I mean? The holding, the frustration. I mean, frustration builds when you're in the zone and you make a mistake. You always say have short-term memory, but that frustration gets to you. You know what I mean? Then you start to make more mistakes, but overall, those boys stuck it out. They didn't allow any points. They did on that punt. That's all they allowed. I mean, the offense scored 28 points at the end of the day. I mean, that's any team would love to be ahead 28-6. You know what I'm saying? So I think the only thing that I gotta say negatively is that in week 3, those are the kind of mistakes that we can't be making anymore. But other than that, I think, John ran his heart out. Devin ran his heart out. Ace made some big plays. The offensive line, I know they got some dings. Some of them guys got some dings and dents and some bruises, and they stuck it out for 4 quarters. You know what I mean? I didn't see them get replaced once. And I know some of them are playing with some bumps and bruises. So, hats off hats off to those guys for sticking it out, for 4 quarters and sticking with their team. So, I think I'm not making an excuse for them for some of the miscues. I'm not making an excuse for them for some of the holding. But going into this game, uh, I just think we over anticipated how well the offense was going to play just because of what we've seen the last 2 weeks. But who's to say that TM's not a better team than they have been the previous few years? I mean, anything could happen, and I think that's what happened Friday.
D-Man?
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I think we kind of anticipated this to be a blowout. My worry to this is I hope that this is the only game we play like this. That's basically what I'm saying. I hate that we played to the caliber of what TM is. You cannot play like that with any team, because you play a team that's even decent, you will be shocked. You will be shocked. You cannot play to the team's ability. So many little knickknacks here and there, and the overall the offense is great. We've had over 400 yards total offense. You cannot take that away from the boys. I mean, these boys, the running backs ran hard. It's just little things that they got to tighten up. Here we are going into district. It's things that I pointed out before. One of the things is Ace not carrying out his fakes. We did run an option off the regular handoffs that we always do, and he was basically stuffed because they knew he had the ball. Once he gets it, he hands off, he turns around and watches, and everybody knows who has the ball. This option play, he carried out, did the fake. John carried out his fake while he ran, but everybody knew he had the ball because it's the only time he runs this one way, So if he carries out those fakes over and over and over, then we could see if he's actually free, But if he's taking guys, we're never going to go to that play, But we never saw him do that. So the one time he did go with the ball, everybody went with him. It was the only time we ran an option play the entire game, and it failed for like a 7-8 yard loss. Those are the little things that got to be tightened up. Devin Phillips running down the sideline. That boy, once he's ahead of everybody, he got the speed to outrun people. He got the strength. We see them fighting for yards on the line. Why turn your back and put all your weight to the back to where like all they got to do is just barely tap you and you're going to fall backwards. Lower your shoulder, run through that grab. Don't be reaching behind you and losing off balance. If they're going to grab you, if you're running, shoulders down, you're going to run through that tackle. Their chin is going to hit the back of your heel. Small things like that. Did we fumble right after that?
Yeah. Luke
See, small things like that, little things like that. He might have not broke it, I don't know, but for him to turn around and try to like knock the I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to like slap his hands off of him, but what he was doing, he was slowing himself down. He basically was off balance, and all it took was just a little knocking down. And he was down. He basically gave that guy an arm to grab onto to bring him down. Small little things like that. Now, one thing that was mentioned in the stands was Ace has that little Romo move. There was that little heat that he had behind him. He had that little Romo move, the one that he went down the sideline, and he got hit real late, which should have been a late hit on him. I like that feeling. And the thing is, he did have quite a bit of pressure, through the whole game. There was a couple. I think there was only one time he probably could have stepped in there, you know, and threw it, found somebody something else. But I think he only had one thing in mind. That was like an out and up with Devin going downfield. He didn't see it, and that's when he scrambled and didn't get anything out of it. But man, it's nice to see him scramble out of there. There's a couple of times I wish he would like run it himself. But he had a good game. I mean, he had 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't take away from the kid. You know, he's fighting out there. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker. I love that. You know, he senses it, and he you know, he outruns those guys to get to the outside. You know, and it's hard to be a defender. You know, if he's gonna run or he's gonna pass, and I like that. I like that about him. Like I said, the turnovers, we had the 2 fumbles and the interception. You know, those are pretty tough. But man, you know, I was talking about Devin, but Devin had a heck of a game. You know, he had 12 carries for 122 yards. I mean, wow. You know, that boy knows how to fight. He knows how to fight. You know, what else did I have on here? Luke Muirhead. You know, he had 142 yards receiving. I mean, we all remember that pass right up down the middle. You know, that was sweet. That was sweet. You know, that was real tight. I like that. I like that. Now, we were talking about guys getting in the Ace's face. I did notice some of the running backs. I didn't go back into detail. I saw this later on in the game, so I didn't go back and see what was going on. But I did see this on one play. These running backs need to learn how to hit low and roll. You know, what they're doing is they're diving face first into their knees and staying there. So these defenders are basically like pushing them off, and they're free. You know, once you're on hands and knees, you ain't gonna be able to block that guy that just dodges you. You know, so that's why they had to like hit and roll, turn your whole body and throw your whole body into those legs. You know, roll. You know, because all they're doing is hitting. And they're bouncing off, and here they are chasing pace, you know. So just little things like that, you know, we need to tighten up. You know, blocks. We got to get those. The backs are attempting to do the block. I'm not saying they're missing it. It's just technique. They're doing it the wrong way. But I think this should have been a blowout. Just small little things like that hurts them. You know, I had to dig deep and look at what was going on. You know, why didn't we score the 70 points? You know, so yeah, TM was all over that field. I got to admit that. I didn't pay attention to the linebacker that you mentioned, Tony, but they got a little lazy. In the fourth quarter, they got real lazy. I mean, it was pathetic. You know, I was all like, I would be embarrassed to be that defensive coordinator because that defensive line was not doing the same thing they were in that first quarter. You know, they were basically just sitting there waiting. But yeah, I mean, I think we're better than this. But the thing is, I think we played to their level, and we can't be doing that.
Well, I'll give you my thoughts on the game. First of all, I was one of the guys that thought we were going to score 50 plus. I even wrote that down when I talked about the pregame and kind of talked about it just based on what I had seen Rockport do in week 1 and 2. But before even we played the first game, I knew what this offense could do. You know, I knew Ace. I saw what Ace did last year as a freshman. I knew he was going to be a lot better, and he is. And so I knew this offense is going to be a lot better with Luke coming back, with Devin coming back. You know, just using Ryan Wells in the backfield. So Devin and John and Luke, and then most of the line coming back. I mean, I knew these guys could put up some points. I think what happened to us, it was, to me, teams, I mean, they could play as hard as they want. They're not, this year, they're not at the caliber of Rockport. They're just not. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, we can throw the ball, they can't. We can run the ball better than they can. And defensively, I think we're better than they are. So it was a little, you know, watching the game, it was like, man, you know, we're better than 28-7. But I also understand we're not going to play and score 60-some points every game. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Even though we're good enough to do it, it don't happen. In this game, we saw penalties. We saw quick turnovers. And I think there was a little bit of maybe frustration with the guys. I mean, we were never in any danger of losing the game, but we didn't play to the caliber that we can. But listen, guys, it's not going to happen all the time. We're not going to score 50-plus points every game. We're not. And I think this was a good game for Rockport after I thought about it because, they can look back to coaches and say, okay, this is what we did wrong. Turnovers are turnovers. You got to hold on to the ball. But that's part of the game, right? It happens. Luke doesn't fumble a lot, and Jordan, getting that ball. How many times does he bobble? It rarely happens. So I don't anticipate that this is going to happen all the time. It happened to us in this game. 28-7. It's a good score, like Tony said, but we're not accustomed to that. We're getting a little spoiled here. We want Rockport to score 50-plus. It was a great game, man. Our offense played good. And I think, when we come back, we've got a week off this week to really clean it up. And I think Coach Seibert and Gup and all those offensive guys, they're going to clean it up. They know what they got to do. I don't think there's any worry on the coach's part because they know these guys are better than that. We're probably going to have another game or two like that in district. It happens. What was impressive to me was that through all those turnovers and those penalties and stuff, Rockport was never in danger of losing the game. They were still really good. And so offensively, I like what we're doing as far as passing and running. We've got a lot of weapons. The holding, I'm not going to put too much thought into it because in game 1 and 2, we didn't do that. These guys were a lot bigger than we were. And so they gave the offense a little bit of havoc. Maybe they had to hold a little bit. That size always bothers you. When we scrimmage Miller, that size bothered our line. But I think at the end of the day, man, we do enough. The speed that Rockport's got is hard to stop them for 4 quarters. So, I think, Rockport basically hurt themselves a little more. I think it was more Rockport hurting themselves than TM, being able to stop Rockport. Because I didn't see TM's defense stop Rockport at all. It was more like Rockport hurting themselves with the turnovers and the fumbles. So now we get 1 week to prepare, actually 2 weeks. 2 full weeks to prepare to get in the district. I think that's a good time for us to have our bye. And we're going to go into Raymondville. So I'm not worried about the offense at all. I think there were some things that we reverted back to. But then I think about it and say, look, this is part of the game. Fumbles happen. Penalties happen, right? We just got to clean it up and make sure that, we do better. And understand that, hey, the more penalties we get, 10 yards back really puts us in a bad situation. But, guys, I'll tell you this. Last year and the year before, if we got a 10-yard holding call, man, it was huge for us because, man, we were going to run the ball 3 out of the 4 times, right? We were barely going to step a pass. Listen, we'll throw the ball 5 times in a row. Coach Seibert will put it out there. Hey, he's going to pass. And we know Ace can pass. So those holding calls, even though they put us back, we can get 10 yards back really, really quick. But we don't want those penalties, right? So I'm going to leave it at, I'm not worried about what we did in this game. We'll clean it up. I think we'll be better against Raymondville and into the district. I don't think you're going to see Rockport play like they did against TM too much in district play. We'll clean it up and we'll be better. Anybody else got anything they want to add before we go to? Go ahead.
I wanted to say one more thing. And I just want to defend Devin real quick because Johnny was talking about when he turned around. There was a time, I don't know if it was in the second quarter, third quarter, maybe it was even the fourth, where we were just at that point we were just running the clock out and they were giving Devin the ball between the tackles. Devin was running the ball down their throat. Between the tackles. He's 140 pounds and he was running between the tackles and getting yards. He ran the ball and he ran it hard, you know what I mean? And the only reason I wanted to bring that back up is because Johnny was talking about when he was turning around, but Devin ran that ball 140 pounds and between the tackles, getting yards, dragging guys. I was super impressed by that. I was like, man, he ain't even a fullback. You know what I'm saying? He's 140 pounds and he's running through between the tackles. There was a question, is he going to be able to replace Ryan Wells? We know he's playing fullback this year. Ryan Wells was bigger. Ryan Wells was thicker. But Devin proved it last Friday that he could run between the tackles and get yards and drag guys with him. Devin is strong. He's not as big, but he's strong and he's fast. And if he passes the that second level, he might be gone. You know what I mean? So something that that Ryan wasn't gonna be able to do because Ryan just wasn't as fast as Devin is. And at least not from what I saw last year. But you know what I mean? Devin ran the heck out of the ball Friday between the tackles, and I was really, really impressed the way he ran between the tackles last game.
Hey, so listen, here's a few things that I'm thinking, okay? One, I really like the tables discussion, right? Because sometimes the boys need to hear it. I know they watch and sometimes they need to hear it, and I'm sure that the coaches wasn't all hugs and kisses after this game. Sometimes they need to hear it, and maybe it helps to hear it from an outside party. You guys got me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So
Kinda.
so I didn't want to come on and be like, oh, this everything was great. I wanted to put it out there to let them know, hey, listen, I know, I'm nobody here, but hey, you guys didn't play up to par. We know that, we see it, it's on tape. And Tony's right. That play when we go inside the tackle, that those guys. I mean, the coaches. If you're worth your grain of salt, you're trying to take away what we do best. And if our guys are quick to the outside, that's all they're telling their guys all week. Hey, we got to get this outside cover. These guys are quick. They're going to get to the corner. Once they get to the edge, you're done. So they're sitting there waiting on that. So kudos to them. They did a great job, scouting our outside, and they stretched the field out and were able to kill a lot of plays. But when the coaches went to that inside run, they couldn't touch it. They never stopped that inside run. So Tony's right. Devin and Chupi, every time they ran that inside run, I know the play calls, but I'm not going to give them up. They did a great job executing the plays. And honestly, that's all the little shine I want to give them. I want them to kind of soak in this, accept this game not being well played, and let it soak in and let it build, and then come out next week and do better. So you grab a kid when he did great, pat him on the shoulder, awesome job, and this and this and that. But when he did bad, you need to do the same thing. Hey, get over here. You didn't play your best game, do better. So this week for me, it's do better.
And I think they will, guys. I mean, like I said, I think I'm gonna talk about myself. My expectation is we're gonna score 50. I mean, I went into that game thinking we're gonna beat 50. And I still don't think TM is at the level of Rockport. But when I take time to really break it down the next day, I look at Rockport. We're not gonna play. We're humans, and we draw and penalties. And I always tell people this: penalties and fumbles are not things we want, but they are part of the game, and they happen, right? I mean, they happen, and they happen to us. We don't want that to happen against some of the tougher teams, but I still think, and I don't think we're going to fumble, and those penalties are going to happen too much. I think we're going to clean it up. These guys are football players. I mean, John Chupi, the way this guy has worked out and prepared himself for his senior year, it's been amazing. Nothing short of amazing. I mean, this guy has put in the work. I follow him on Twitter. The traveling that he has to do, doing baseball sometimes. I mean, this guy's just an athlete, but they love what they do, So, you heard Coach Cyber say, we had Ryan last year. He adapts to the players that he's got. And so we're playing a little different style of offense. These guys are going to be good. And what we do here on the podcast is, and what I ask you guys to do is critique the game, right? We don't belittle the person. We don't talk bad about coaches. That'll never happen. That's not something that we'll ever do on this podcast. Not something I'll ever allow to happen. But I do want you guys to critique the game. I don't want to come on and say, hey, look, man, everything was good. Let's critique the game. That's what I've asked Johnny and Steve and Tony to do. Let's critique the game. Not an individual, but the game offensively. And that's why we do defensively. So continue to do what you guys are doing. I know you guys aren't going to belittle no coaches and players, but we got to critique the game. That's what the podcast is all about. Saying that, guys, I think we're going to be back next week against Raymondville. I expect our offense to go back. I'm going to try to make sure that I don't want 50 points every game, but we're going to be good this year. And I think Coach Seibert and Coach Cup and that offensive guys, they're going to get it together. They're going to get on those boys. We ain't going to be holding and fumbling the ball too much this year.
I got one more thing about the offense, because I was super excited when I heard Big Mac was moving to tight end. I want to see some plays, and we saw a little bit of it in King, but I want to see some plays where Big Mac gets the ball and gets to run with it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about McPherson. You know what I mean? I want to see some quick, 5-yard passes. We don't need to go deep all the time, but I like to see some of those quick 5-yard passes to the tight end and get Ian involved. Because the thing is, Ian is a good ball player. Good. And I just want to see what he could do with the ball in his hands. I mean, he's had some passes thrown to him a little bit, but I like to see some more of that in that maybe in that play action or just a quick pass. Maybe when you get into the red zone or maybe when you're playing that goal line offense, just a little quick tight end pass. You know what I'm saying? Because Ian, I mean, he's gonna play with all of his heart on the field, and I think that he can make some plays, and I like to see a highlight with with Ian getting some nice catches, and I think he can do it. So I'm still waiting to see Big Mac get some love with that passing play.
It's coming, and I'm sure Coach Cybers got it coming. It's coming. They got a lot of weapons this year, guys. I mean, that's why we say the ball goes to everybody. I mean, it's not going to go to one person. I mean, Carson Flores has done a good offensive catching the ball. Luke has been amazing catching that ball, man. I think we underestimate Luke's speed sometimes. He gets down that field, man, and then you got John and Devin. I mean, these guys can run and catch from the backfield. So, I mean, we've got weapons everywhere. The last thing I'll say on this offense, man, is this. I love to watch Ace get run out of the pocket. I mean, I think he's better when he's off that. His arm strength is unbelievable for a sophomore. I mean, he runs. When he's running down that sideline, he's got options. And when he's able to get out of that pocket and roll, it gives him options to run or pass. But when this guy's on the run, he can chunk it 35, 40 yards down the field, and it's pretty accurate. So it's amazing what this guy is done as a sophomore, man. And I can't wait to see what the junior, senior year, and the rest of this year. I love when he's out of the pocket. I think it gives him more options. I think you're going to see him get better the rest of this season and the next 2 years that he's here at Rockport. So it's just amazing to see. Let's go over to the defense now, and I'll start off with Johnny. Johnny's a defensive guy. Listen, against King, we struggled a little bit. They scored 24 points, and we kind of said, man, 24 points. I mean, they scored on us. I don't think they should have had it. Man, this defense came out. They shut it down. I mean, they were all over it. I mean, when these guys are trying to pass side to side, man, those linebackers were there. I mean, the defense was aggressive in this game, and they came to play. They were all over. They were hustling. I loved what they did defensively against TM. And those guys were kind of big offensively, but, Lewis, Aguilar, Vasquez, and Jones, man, these guys were handling their own. And then I got to say this before I go to you, Johnny. Peyton McAllister's everywhere on that field. I've watched that video a couple of times watching him, and he's just, I mean, you're right. I mean, he'll hit, right? Knock the guy down. He just pops right back up like a spring, just boom, and he's chasing the ball. Amazing how this guy plays. I don't see a lot of what he does when I'm watching the game at the stadium because I'm watching the play. But when I get back and I'm able to watch the video, this guy is amazing. I said he doesn't take a play off, and that video shows this guy just goes. He just knows one speed and go. Johnny, talk a little bit about the defense. What was your thoughts? How well did they play against Tuloso-Midway?
Yeah, McAllister was all over that field, man. I got to admit that. He had 11 tackles, one quarterback hurry, one block punt, even on special teams. He had 3 big hits and 3 tackles for loss. That boy was just flying everywhere. I like how he plays. Now, you threw his name out there, but Mr. Cooper had a hell of a game. Hell of a game.
Who was that?
Krupa. King. They call him King Krupa.
King Krupa. He had 15 tackles. He led the team in tackles. He had 15 tackles, 1 quarterback hurry, 2 tackles for loss. One thing I was very impressed by him was how he covered the guys in the flats. I mean, that boy, once he saw there was pass, he saw his receiver out there, that boy went full blast out there. And I could just tell those backs or receiver was like, come on, hurry, get here. He was basically getting there almost at the same time as that ball was getting there, man. He knows how to cover the flats. I got to admit that boy's hot on there. I cannot take. That's now. I saw this somewhere? I can't remember where I saw this. Is this correct that Tuloso only had 27 total yards?
That's it.
That's what you got.
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. I love that. I love anything under 100. Under 50. That's
ridiculous.
I love that. I mean, the only thing I kind of worry about still is the outside. I mean, we covered the pass on the flats. It's just the runs on the outside. I get worried about that. We crashed down too early. Some of those backs got outside. I think the quarterback got outside one time. But they're not big playmakers, you know. Our speed basically chucked them down, but there should be no reason why they should making it outside. That's still my little worry is that contain outside. You know, I don't see our defense, our the talent we have. They shouldn't even be making it out there. You know, it should be clearing up by the inside guys. They should be the ones clearing it up. You know, not your cornerbacks out there. But that's the only thing negative I had on the defense is I just worry about the outside still. And I get worried about a certain team doing that to us.
Absolutely. And I think all four of us thinking, we know what we're all thinking. You know, Coach Steve, I'll go to you next, man. The defense played well. I mean, they were aggressive. And you said in a past podcast that Krupa was going to show up. I remember you saying in the podcast, said, you know, we talk about McAllister, we talk about Joe Moreno, but you said Krupa's going to hear this and he's going to get fired up. And he got fired up against TM, man. I mean, this guy played tough and he comes to hit. He hits. And we've talked about McAllister and Krupa and what they're going to mean to this defense. I mean, I said, you know, I think Peyton, you know, as a middle linebacker, I've always considered the middle linebacker the captain of the defense, no matter who you are, right? And his play, and first of all, you know, and this is a guy never played linebacker. I think I never saw him play linebacker in youth when he was there. Now he might have played when he got older, but I never saw him play. So in 3 games that he's come in, and you're seeing Peyton every week, he's getting better. He's getting more comfortable. I watched him in the scrimmages. You know, we talked about it, and we saw how he wasn't really sure. You know, he'd hesitate, and I thought, well. But he's just playing. He's just starting off. Then we get into week 1, and you know, then you say to week 2. Now by week 3, this guy's getting more comfortable. He's getting comfortable in that position. He's feeling more confident, more comfortable. And as he gets comfortable, it's bad for the other offenses because this guy does not take a play off. Watching him on the video, he's everywhere. He'll hit hard, pop right back up, and go chase the play. He just doesn't walk. It's amazing what he does. And then you got Krupa, who on that side, like Johnny said, some of the things he can do, and he comes to hit. You go on his side, he's going to lay you out. We talked about Joe Moreno. Joe Moreno, I think, is a smart football player. So these guys are playing good, Coach. Your thoughts on the defense?
Hey, listen, I love to take credit for, you know, knowing that King Krupa was going to come back and play an amazing game. But it's that kid's ability, and that's what was going to rise, and that's what I've been expecting, and that's what I knew what was coming, was his sheer ability and nose for the ball, and his recognition of that outside pass. Z-Man, I'm sure he appreciates you noticing that, because that is one thing that he does well. He covers the flats well, and he brings that intimidation to where even if it was a perfect pass and he was a step behind, them big old size 15, you're here coming, and it's gonna make you drop the ball. So he had an amazing game. I cannot take no credit for that. I knew the kid had it in him, and of course, you know, you got the anchor in there, Peyton McAllister, still leading the show. All right, and then Joe Moreno. Joe Moreno's tackles dropped off this week a little bit. But that was probably because, you know, they had some pretty big guys that were cutting, you know, initiating contact with Joe. But Aiden Rangel, all right, number 6, Aiden Rangel, all right, we're going to have to start talking. That guy's got to get on people's radar because that kid is playing some amazing ball, right? I mean, for a first-year guy getting out there playing that edge, you guys know where Aiden Rangel played last year for the Pirates? He played quarterback. He was our varsity, our JV quarterback last year. So I know for a fact that this has to be his first year playing outside linebacker. And that kid has a nose for the ball, right? He falls on the fumbles. He causes fumbles. I remember in that, in that Miller scrimmage, caused a big fumble. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that kid is something to watch. So there goes another name I'm going to throw at you guys, something to watch out for, because Aiden Rangel, is starting to bring that hat around. And I love it because it's just contagious, right? The kids just want to, hey, you know what? You did a little something. Well, here I come, and let me show you what I can do. And they start throwing their hats around, and I love it, right? That only makes for a great defense. Those guys played lights out, all right? They played they had a great, great plan, and they played great, and while the offense was struggling to score points and whatnot, the defense, made it look right. They played well, and there are some things we can clean up there and stuff like that. But overall, I love our defensive intensity, our pursuit to the ball, our game tackling, because we're in there. Everybody's coming. So I love that, and we can keep that up. Next week's going to be a big test, right? The whole unknown, going into the Valley black hole, right? Nobody knows the mysteries. So, that's going to be a great test for us. I think our boys will be up to it defensively. I love that we have all these different weapons that can come at you. We got corners that are playing great defensively. They're great tacklers. Our safeties are great tackler. Both of them, they can come down and put 8 men in the box and really shut down that run. So I'm excited. Our defense looked well, played well, and then each week here comes another guy. Here comes another guy that's catching your eye. So I'm excited.
Aiden Rangel played good in this game, man. We are going to be talking about this. He's going to make some big plays. Tony, I'll go to you. Before you break down the defense, give me your thoughts on the D. We talked about the linebackers. We know what our linebackers can do. We talk about them pretty much every Wednesday, and we're always just kind of excited at what they're doing. I mean, these guys, they're kind of like the heart of the defense, right? They play tough. All four, our linebackers just play hard every play. Talk a little bit about the defense. Give some love to Matt Bosquez, Luis Aguilar, Byron Jones. I mean, these guys, I'll tell you about these guys. These guys are up in that front taking the brood of the – I mean, TM was big, and they're getting, pounded all the time. But these guys do all the dirty work, so McAllister and Krupa and these guys can get in there and make the plays. Talk a little bit about the D-line, and then break down your thoughts on the defense in this game against Tuloso-Midway.
Yeah, that D-line did have their hands full with that big offensive line. But Matthew had a big game. Matt, you always expect Matthew to show up and have a big game, and he did, and he always does. Noah, for being a sophomore, he plays aggressive, and he tries to get in on every play. And then Lewis, I mean, I haven't seen a center that can hold that guy. I mean, that guy, he's not a big nose guard. I mean, the smallest guy on the D line, but he plays big. I mean, he plays really big. I'm pretty sure that the last 3 centers he's faced are gonna remember his name or remember his number, because he comes at you all game long. He doesn't slow down. He doesn't slow down at all. And I know you Steve talked about Joe Moreno's tackles going down this week. I'll tell you why. What I seen is that big number 51 in his face almost every play. That was a big boy, and he was in his face almost every freaking play. And that was a big boy. That left tackle was in his face mostly every play. He was going the second level, and he was in Joe's face most of the game. So, Joe had his hands.
6'11". They killed 6'11".
He's a big boy. So he was in Joe. Joe had to deal with that boy the whole night. So, for him to stick it out there and get in on some of them plays, and I'm telling you, I was watching that because I was waiting to see his name. But I tell you what, number 6 picked up the slack, and he showed out. He really did. And I talked about this before we started recording. Aiden Rangel showed out. He really did. He showed out this game. Not that I didn't think he was a ball player, because I seen him play since he was little. You know what I mean? He's a ball player, but man, he sure did show out this game. And one of the other things I want to say about the defense is that I talked about this last week. There was a lot of missed tackles, in that King versus King. It took second and third hits to take guys down, and those guys were not big. Those guys were not that good. It shouldn't take 2 or 3 different contacts to take those guys down. Well, I seen in this game, I seen them clean that up. First contact, that guy was going down. We talked about Krupa defending the flats. And I seen whenever that quarterback looked at that back coming out of the backfield, he was flying. He was flying to that ball. You know what I'm saying? It looked like he was about to miss it, but no, he was there. and he was cleaning it up, and he was laying the wood. And I mean, man, defensively, I really can't say nothing negative about the defense. I mean, you hold a team to 27 points. I mean, 27 yards. That says a lot about the defense. You know what I'm saying? And we talked about this earlier in the preseason. Earlier before the season started, we talked about how good we thought the defense was going to be. We talked about this with Coach Robbins, in fact, how he talked about how good this defense was going to be. You know what I mean? And versus King, even though we won big, they allowed 24 points. You know what I'm saying? But for them to bounce back from last week to this week, they cleaned all that stuff up and only allowed 27 yards. That's big. That's big going in to a bye week, getting ready for district. That defense, that defense got to be feeling good and confident about the way they played. And we already talked about the offense. Offense starts to click better, clean up those little mental mistakes, and man, Rockport's gonna be a force to be reckoned with come district play. So I'm really excited about the way the defense played this week.
I'll say this about the defense. I'm very impressed with Matthew Ross because he got in that backfield, sacked that quarterback a couple of times. It's something that we hadn't really talked about, but Matthew's been getting better every week, man. I mean, you're not the fastest guy on that defense, right? But boy, he gets after you, man. I mean, he'll run you down, and if he gets his hands on you, probably gonna go down, man. He's gonna let go.
7 foot wingspan. That's
so.
7 feet.
This kid is playing really good. I'm just been thrilled. I've watched him the last, since week 1, 2, and he's getting it, man. He's getting back there, and he's chasing them down, and he got that quarterback a few times, I think more than once. It was just great to see him play, and I'll say this about you talked about Joe Moreno. That's the beauty of that defense. You got to take one, that leaves 3 more out there, and then Aiden Rangel, we're talking about him and the play that he's doing. The last thing I'll say is this: Coach Robbins, when we had him on, he said the one thing he said on this podcast is, "I need effort from the guys." He understands that sometimes they're not going to have the best game and they're going to struggle in some games. I mean, it happens, right? These guys, miss tackles and stuff. But he said, I need effort. That's what I need to see. And let me tell you, in the 3 weeks I've seen on that defense, even against King, they don't walk around. They're giving effort. They're chasing people down. They don't give up on the play. They're taking that Robbins isn't going to accept anything. And I think that's good. I think that's one of the things I like about Coach Robbins is he'll get after you. He's not going to give you a break. He's not going to let up. You see him on that sideline, he ain't letting up. I mean, even when we're winning and these guys aren't playing tough, he's down there yelling at him. He's never taken a play off. I mean, he wants it good. He's always trying to better that defense. And that defense now takes up after their coach. So I think this is going to be a really good season. The defensive line, I like what Matthew, Lewis Aguilar, Jones, what they're doing. And listen, Jones is just a sophomore. He's got 2 more years. Probably going to grow more. And I think he's going to be pretty good. I think this guy on the D-line, on the defensive end, man, watch out the rest of this season and his junior, senior year. This guy's going to be something special. And then, of course, we can't really say much about the corners. They didn't throw the deep ball very much, so we don't have anything to say about our corners in this game too much. But that front 7 for Rockport played one hell of a defensive game, man. And it's really good going into the bye and getting in the district with Raymondville. Love what I saw from the defense. Anything else anybody wants to add before we move on to the special teams?
No, hey, just real quick, Matthew's stats. I mean, Matthew had 7 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackle for losses. That second tackle was against a running back, but he played a great game along with Noah. Noah had 6 tackles. So and they're both coming back. So good luck with that.
Yeah. No, they're getting after it. Go ahead, Johnny.
I can't believe I didn't bring this up. I thought about this the entire game. Dude, that D-line destroyed that offensive line, dude. I don't care how big they were. They destroyed them, dude. That offensive line had no chance against us. I can't believe I didn't put that in there, man. I do remember that. I mean, we were just back there every time. That quarterback had no chance. No chance. I wouldn't even consider the coverage sack because these guys are just getting the sack anyways.
Yeah, that D-line, we got to give them some love, man. They're playing tough. And like I said, it's all about effort. I mean, that whole 11 guys on that defense, they don't walk around. They're giving effort because that's what Coach Robbins is telling them. You're going to get after you or you're going to sit out if you don't give effort. I mean, he said, I need effort. That's what I need from you. And I'm going to get effort from you. And these guys, they know what they got to do out there. And, man, it's just really good. They played a great game, man. And I'm looking forward to these guys playing another great game when we travel up to Raymondville, not this week, but next Friday to start district play. Real excited about what our team is doing right now. They're getting better every week. Let's go over to special teams. And, Tony, I'll go to you first. Special teams, man. The one score that TM did get, I mean, we talked about the defense, how good they were, but the one score that they did get came on our special teams. They blocked the punt. That Krupa was attempting to kick, and they get it, they recover, and they run it back. Your thoughts on our special teams? I know that play broke down, but throughout the game, and talk specifically about that play.
Yeah, on that play, I'm not really sure what happened there. I don't remember. It was fourth and what? I don't know how many yards were needed for a first down. But I'm pretty confident in that game. If we go for it on fourth down and we turn the ball over, I'm pretty confident that TM offense doesn't score. I'm pretty confident that if we go for it on fourth down, uh that Tuloso-Midway offense doesn't score. I'm not saying that that's ideal. I mean, we were deep in our own territory. It's not ideal to do that, but the way TM was playing, we don't punt a lot. We normally don't punt. We normally score or we go for it on fourth down. So, it's not something that the boys are accustomed to. We do need to get faster. I don't know. Man, I just saw the ball getting blocked. I don't know if the snap was slow or there was no blocking. I just remember the ball getting blocked and then picking it up and running it in. So I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but yeah, I mean, they're not accustomed to punting, and even when we do punt, and I'll go back to the King game. I mean, we're only punting 10 yards or 20 yards. I mean, it's not really worth punting. You know what I mean? And if you got a punter who got a boot, then you punt the ball by all means. But if we're gonna punt 10 yards, just go for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to be able to get. If we're gonna go for a punt, we need to be able to punt 30 or 40 yards. You know what I mean? Make it worth it. But you know, they just need to practice that more. When I go to practices, I don't normally see them practicing that. Maybe they do it on a day that I don't go. Steve could probably clear that one up. But yeah, they're just Rockport's not a punting team. I mean, I can't take that. I can't blame it on the guys because they're just not used to punting. That's all I got on special teams as far as that play. As far as kickoffs go, we had Cristobal puts the ball where you want it. You know what I mean? If he kicks it deep, they don't return the ball at all. If he kicks it shallow, I mean, we got to get down there and we got to cover. I think they had one play where they got it back to the 40 or something like that. But you know, it's just you never know. You know what I mean? But special teams, nothing that really stood out to me. Besides the block punt, I didn't see anything special on. We had one kickoff return, two kickoff returns, and did not unless I'm missing something. I don't remember seeing anything spectacular.
Steve, the TM punter can punt. He can punt.
Hey,
I mean, he put
I
us
saw
down
him
there in
warming
the
up.
end zone. He can punt. But
yeah.
talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on our special teams. And then talk about, do you know, Steve? I don't know either. I didn't spend a lot of time watching that play, but how did they get in? Did we just miss some blocks, or did they just go on one side? Because they came, it looked like from the left. They blocked it from the left. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe you can kind of let us know a little bit of what you saw.
Yeah, no. So I saw the play and I ran it over and over, and there was definitely a breakdown on the left side. Looking at it, they overloaded, which is normal. They overloaded that side, ran it kind of tight. So the guy had to make a decision on who he was going to get, and his decision was neither one of them. He took off running forward. So that was the breakdown on that play. You got to throw your body at one of them or both of them or try to do something. But that split decision cost that block punt. The kid didn't go after either one of them. He shrugged his shoulders right and then just ran forward. So there was definitely a breakdown right there. Maybe he thought that Krupa is going to get it off quicker. But Krupa is we've seen him punt. He does it. He's a punter, so he has that whole thing. Now when you got the quarterback back there, it's more of a little quick jab, step, punt type of thing, and it's going to get off quicker. So maybe he thought there was ace back there that was just going to catch him. You know how punters. Punters have their little thing. So Krupa goes through. He's their punter, so he has that a little bigger. I guess it's like a longer windup. I would say, like if I had to use a baseball analogy, like a longer windup, where if it's ace back there, it's more of a quick kick. So he catches and just drops it at his foot and pooches it out there. Now I've seen Ace do that and get a hold of it. And get a decent yards out of it. But on this night, the 2 times that he did the little quick kick, they weren't for very long. I mean, I think one might have been for 12 yards. The other one might have been for 15, 16 yards. They were bad. The wind was swirling a little bit, but bad outcome nonetheless. So that was the breakdown on that play for sure. There was a missed blocking assignment. I saw that for sure. Now, TM's punter, when the 22 guys were on the field at that time, when he was getting lined up to kick, he was the best player on the field. That TM punter was, he probably kept it from getting to 50 because he was booting the ball. And we were losing on that field position because, Ricky would just look at, watch it go over his head and let it bounce about 10, 15, 20, 30 more yards. And then, boom, there you are. You know what I'm saying? 50-yard punt, 55-yard punt. So, that kid had a great leg. And he was the best player on TM that night. No doubt. No doubt. He was the best player. Now, defensively, we gave up way too many kickoff and punt return. That's something that the coaches got to get a hold of, and they got to clean that up because the majority of their yards came from their punt returns. That's where all their stuff. That's where they were getting the field position. Honestly, but they couldn't do nothing with it. But what I'm saying was, that's where we were giving up the most yards was on our punt return. Falling off tackles, breaking tackles, and just playing outrunning them. So I'm sure the coaches will review the tape and see that we have to tighten up. The boys are staying in their lanes and they're doing what they got to do, but these guys are breaking tackles. They're breaking tackles and they're gaining, way too much yards. In my opinion, we're just giving up way.
Steve, can you hear me? Johnny, I'll go ahead and go to you. Yeah, Steve will come back. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think he meant kickoff return, though. Anyways, I just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, I think he made kickoff returns, too. Yeah, I'm going to point that out in a little bit. Okay, so, Tony, you were talking about, us not punting on 4th down and stuff like that. I could see Cyber's decision after, the quick punts weren't going too good with your 15 and 20-yard punts on the quick kicks. I like his decision on those. It's just he was just off. I'm pretty sure he could kick a lot further than that. He just didn't have the lucky bounce. You usually have that one bounce that rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls because there's nobody back there. But that's something that was good for us to work on. We're gonna need that later on. We can't assume that we're gonna go into deep in the playoffs going on 4th and 10. So it's good that we work on this. It shows that we made an adjustment from that first punt to that second punt. Gabriel was talking about, asking everybody what happened on that punt block. Well, I had to look at it myself. Steve was saying something about the outside guy reaching out there for making an attempt, but not really a big attempt. The guy basically beat him out there. The thing is, I paused it. I paused it right when the ball was getting dropped to punt. The ball, he hasn't even punted the ball yet. And there were 5 guys I had already released downfield. They had nobody engaged. 5 guys. When you're on that line, you got to hear that punt. Communication has to happen on that line on a punt. You got him, I got him, you got him, I got him. There's no communication going down there. There was more than that one guy that made it back there. There was 3 or 4 guys that made it back there. Again, because everybody took off, wanted to be the hero of going for the tackle, then waiting for that punt to get punt. 5 guys were released, didn't have a guy engaged before the punt was even punted. So when he punted the ball was blocked, and there was nobody back there because everybody was downfield. That's something that I know from playing that punt team is you hear that ball, that's when you go. The only guy that should be going downfield is that center. Even the punter, yelling, being communicative, go, 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 red, 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 fire, 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 block punt or whatever. Of course, that's been too late, but still, you don't go until after you hear the punt or you hear the punter saying go. But these guys were running downfield, and I mean, the whole punt return team was down there, in the backfield. Now they did make an adjustment the second time they tried to punt. Basically, it was a safety punt. Basically nobody ran downfield, everybody stayed in. Even the center went about 5 yards and he stopped. So there was an adjustment. They did do the up back, and he helped on that side because he knows that was the pressure over there. So, and there was communication. One of the up backs pointing, check out that guy over there, check out that guy. There was communication back there, but we have to have better communication on that line. Who has who, especially on the outside part. We can't have that free guy going just because we get confused of who has who. That was on that block punt. Now, I did mention about the quick picks and as far as quick punts, as far as why we did the punts. The punt returns, I get frustrated on this. Yeah, it looks great. McAllister got that block punt. We come close to blocking it. But 4 times anticipating that snap. One time it was called on them, which I didn't see it. I still try to see it. It should have been 4. One time we called it on them. But 4 times trying to guess that snap, and here we are running across. It's TM. They're gonna punt again. Get to the bigger teams. 4th and 10, 4th and 5. They're gonna go for it. We can't. It's so easy. You can't assume when the body's gonna snap. Your eyes should be on that ball. On that ball. Why is it back there in the backfield? You already know when you're running. You know where you're going. Why you got to stare down back there in the punter. You know where he's at. He ain't gonna run around. Your eyes should be on that ball. When that ball moves, you go. Don't anticipate it. That was so. That's mental.
That's a good
that
point.
Was mental penalties. That was nothing against the referees. It should have gone one way or the other. That to me, mental mistakes is a lot worse than anything else. We gave up. Just small little things like that. Steve mentioned about the kickoffs. Yes, we did kick off a lot. Yes, there was a lot of returns. There was a few times. Now they did. I don't know if it's our weakness. I haven't looked at it. Maybe we need to pay attention to that more. But they returned the ball every time the same way. They had set up the same way. No matter where he punted it one time to one side, they just decided to go all the way straight across still. I don't know if that's our weakness on that side, but I do know when the ball was caught and the guy ran about 5 yards, there's only 3 guys down there. Where is everybody else? 3 or 4 guys within what I call the battle zone, which is that right there with that front line in front of the returner. There was only 3 or 4 guys. Where is everybody else? The guys running downfield. I see I see two safety guys. I see the kicker and another guy. You know, why are they back there? You know, why? Especially that side of the field. Of course, the guys that are free are the ones not getting blocked. You know, so those are the 3 and 4. But there's one in the middle somewhere getting through there some way, somehow, which he should. You know, he's getting blocked, but at least he's downfield. You know, there was a lot of holdings. I saw a few guys get tackled down. That was a big problem. I think they only called one of them a holding on them. But there was a couple dragging downs as far as why we were getting held on that side. But I don't know if it's a speed or we're not blowing by the guys. I think we're engaging and we're staying engaged instead of getting rid of the guys. And I think I don't know if that's the weak side of our thing or just guys just need to get down there faster or more aggressive, you know, because they were just going back and down over and over and over. But really, that's all I got. I had to pinpoint a lot of those things, you know. They did adjust on a block punt, but then again, you know, they got to communicate better on that.
That's what we do on the podcast, right? We talk and we want to talk about what we see on the video. That's why we stream it too, for people to be able to watch it. But it gives us an opportunity to go back and see, you know, what's going on and what we need to talk about. Steve, I want to give you an opportunity to finish out. You were talking a little bit about special team. Go ahead and finish what your point was.
I'm not sure what all came across. Where did I get cut off?
You were talking about most of the yards they gained were on
the kickoff return. Yeah, that's kind of where I ended it up at. It was, but here's the thing, guys. I'm seeing a little bit too much of it. This isn't the first game that we played, and this isn't the first kickoff that we've or punt or kickoff return coverage that we've fielded. I see a hole right there. I honestly think that there's definitely some something that we can improve on drastically. I think we can do some really big things there, and you know, maybe not changes, but I'm just saying maybe just reiterating the importance of it, because that is a flaw in our game right now. I think we're giving up too much kickoff return, and as far as going and getting the block, I mean, by all means, I'm not one against pass punt block rushing or any of that stuff at all. You know, putting pressure on the punter to try to gain field position. You know, that I am not opposed to it, but if that's everybody's concern, now I'm like, okay, well, how are we going to ever gain any field position from a kickoff return or a punt if Ricky pretty much just let the ball go over his head. You know, he's not going to go study.
Everybody's in the back.
There's no blocking because everybody is punt rushing. So I mean, or kickoff or whatever. They're well, no, in punt. Obviously, in kickoff return, they're engaged in blocks and stuff like that. But in that punt game is where I'm seeing a breakdown. Is like everybody, we're sending 7. 8 guys at the ball at the punt, and maybe one of them's close enough to had he been within another step or two, hadn't got a finger on it, and we've gotten our share of block punts. But are we sacrificing field position by sending 7, 8 guys at the punter and not giving any chance for our punt return guy to even take the chance of catching the punt? And is there going to be any blocking there? So, I mean, I don't know. I would probably like to see a little bit, hey, we got some guys that usually have that good pressure on them. McAllister up the middle usually works pretty nice, or off the edges. We send, when we overload one side, we usually get pretty close. But I would like to see those guys engage in some blocks and try to set up a better field position for our give Ricky a chance at punt return and see what we can end up and gain a little better field position off of a punt.
I agree.
Yeah, and I want to add something to the kickoff. On pretty much every occasion, they return the ball for about 20 yards at least. But we all know Cristobal has the leg to just kick it in the end zone. I mean, or if we're not stopping them at the 25, we should be kicking it in the end zone, letting them start on the 25. I mean, they're starting at the 40, and luckily TM wasn't, their offense wasn't that great, but against a good team, you start off on the 40. I mean, our defense got a lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you got somebody with a leg like Cristobal, and they're getting to the 40 and when we're not kicking it in the end zone, we just need to kick it in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, that wasn't necessary this game, but it may be necessary down the road. Giving them a longer field, but letting them start on the 35 and 40. It's you're asking your defense to do a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think there is a little bit of work to be had on the special teams. I know they got some good guys on the special teams on the kickoff. They got some good coverage guys going down there. You know what I mean? But I think we need to utilize our strength, and our strength is that leg of Cristobal and just putting it in the end zone. I mean, I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, but we're getting to a point where like there's teams that are going to see that weakness that we have, and they're going to be returning it from the end zone.
8 yards deep.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, hey, if they want to try that, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'd love for a team to try because, like I said, we got some good coverage guys, but it's just not happening when we're kicking it to the 25, and they only got to run 20 yards to get to the 40. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard when you got a little bit of the first 5 or 10 yards are gimme yards if you just run straight. You know what I'm saying? So if we kick it to the end zone and the team wants to try to take it out of the end zone and run it, then I would say let them try it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say. We got some good guys on that kickoff, but you know we're only kicking it to the 20. We're doing those high kicks where we're trying to get down there fast and cover, and we're just not getting there fast enough to cover. You know what I mean? We're giving them those yards. So I say kick it
They're
in the end
returning
zone.
it 25 yards anyways. So they're going to try to take it out of the end zone anyways for their 25 yards.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have a better chance of stopping them before they get to 25 than kicking it to the 25. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, this is good. I mean, we're breaking down. There's a lot of things on that special team that's going to allow us for next week to take a look. We made some good points here, right? So let's just see what we do next to see if any of the stuff that we talked about this week, we'll see a difference in the next a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to see if we've cleaned up some of the things that we brought up here that we feel as fans, right? Because we're just talking from a fan's point of view, right? What we're seeing, and that's the good thing about bringing up the points that we see as a fan. Let's see if this stuff gets cleaned up. Let's see if some of the stuff we're talking about, on our our blocking when we're punting, we can clean it up. Some of the stuff we're talking about, some of the other stuff. So it was great to talk special teams. I'm going to look forward, and we're going to continue talking the next few weeks to see if this stuff gets cleaned up. Before we go on and move to the next subject, I did want to just kind of break down the freshman and JV. They are playing this week. Our varsity has a bye, but the freshman is playing tomorrow. At least that's what I saw on the Rockport app, the Pirate app. They do travel to Goliad. Real quick, guys, just kind of start off with Steve first. They're 2-1. They had an impressive win in week 2. They lost week 1, but they had a 50-plus win in week 2, and then of course I think they won 14-0 in week 3. So they're 2-1 going into Goliad. Your thoughts, Steve, just on the freshmen and what they're doing early on in the season?
Hey, I like what the freshmen are doing. They look really good. I think they're going to have a great season. I think they're going to finish it off with definitely more wins than losses. I don't see them dropping many more games this year. The way they're playing, I really, really, really do like the intensity they're bringing to the game. It does not seem like a big drop off. You guys got to go check these guys out when you watch them play. And obviously, they've all been coached by the same guys. But what I'm getting at is like the drop in play. I've been to a lot of freshman games, and you'll see the drop in play a little bit, and you're like, okay, well, this is just the freshman team. These guys are playing, man. They look sharp, and the game speed is up to par. So that's why I guess that's what my eyes are used to seeing is like a slower pace game. When you go watch a JV game, or you go watch much less a freshman game, it's the slower pace. there's not a slower pace with these guys. These guys, they're moving the ball well, they're blocking well. It just bodes for me. It just like, man, we are. Obviously the varsity is gonna lose a ton of guys this year, the experience and stuff like that. But it just makes me excited for the future of our program when I go out there and I watch this freshman team and the JV team execute their plays and how they looking on the field and the tempo that they're playing with. It's like, man, it just gives me confidence to say that, hey, you know what? We're going to continue to build on our program, and we're going to get better, and we're going to get stronger, and we're going to be relevant for the next 4 or 5 years, without a doubt. So I like what I'm seeing out of our freshman boys.
All right, Steve, I'll stay with you. Let's talk about the JV. They're 3-0 early on this season, and they've only given up 12 points in 3 games. They shut out week 1. They shut out their team week 2. They shut out their team. TM scored 12. This team is looking good, man. I like their offensive defense. Break down a little bit our JV team, man. Can this team win this?
You know what? Last week I gave a little shine to our offense. This week I want to spend a little time on the defense side of the ball. All right. They got a kid over there, a little man child, Austin Broder. He plays defensive end for those guys. I mean, I remember this kid in youth, right? And I was like, holy cow, this guy, offensively, when we'd give him the ball, you couldn't catch him. He had these, elusive moves, and he was, it was hard to, grab a hold of him. He had a real good eye for the field, good vision. And I attribute a lot of that success that he's having now playing defensive end to how great of an offensive player he could be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a big boy now. I mean, huge kid. But he plays that defensive end almost like a linebacker. But I mean, he's got some size through Gabriel. When you see this kid, you're going to be blown away. He's super tall. I don't know all of his stats, but if I had to guess, he's probably about 6'2", maybe 6'3" right now. Probably about 200 and 15 pounds, 20 pounds. I may be giving up a little bit here or there, but he's huge and he's crazy athletic off the edge, crazy athletic. And I went to a game and I watched a video that his mom posted. I mean, he's in every play. He's making, he's got a quick first step, and that comes from being that offensive minded kid as a youth. You got that quick first elusive step that gets you away, gets you that separation. Well, he's using that playing defense, and he's the first one to the ball. So, I mean, he's playing great. But you cannot look past the offense. It's the Aiden Moreno, and then it seems like he's got this really nice connection between the Garcia kid. I've seen some plays get called back, but I've seen more offensive touchdowns than I think I just saw one. I'm not gonna lie, but there seems to be a connection between those two. And gosh, I can't remember his name. Tony, can you help me out? Gosh, what's his name? Weddle. Blake. So
sorry, I was on mute.
So, hey, I apologize, Lindsay. I know she's probably going to hang me, for not knowing his name right off, right? But Blake Garcia and him seem to have a special relationship, and I saw that in youth. They used to always have that connection, and it seems like they've carried it over to the JV. You just throw the ball up to Blake, and Blake's going to come down with it. Not the biggest kid, but has the nose for the ball and knows how to high center that ball and come down with it. So, I love what I see on offense, so, hey, I like the direction of the program. Overall, I think we're doing great.
Tony, break down the freshman JV, your thoughts.
Yeah, the freshmen, like Steve said, I mean, they're running the same offense as the varsity, and I think they execute very well. But they got Sean Howell at QB, who's a smart kid. I mean, he's just a smart ball player. You know what I mean? And then you got Devin's little brother Dawson, in the backfield, running. He's a beast back there, just like his brother is. You know what I'm saying? So you got some big names in that freshman squad. You know what I'm saying? And I know there's a lot of other guys. I don't know their names. I know they got another good running back. I don't know his name. Sorry for that. But that I remember seeing in that Aransas pass game. You know what I mean? They got some ball players in the freshman team. But I mean just real big notables is Sean. You know, Sean's like 6'3". He could throw the ball 50 or 60 yards. Uh, and then you got Dawson Phillips who runs hard. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about the future, like Steve said, you just got more backs and more QBs coming up. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that one loss was to Saint Joseph or something like that out of Victoria. That was a close game. You know what I mean? It's not like they got blown out. So but on the games they did win, they won pretty big. So I think the freshman squad is doing a pretty good job, and the future looks really good. As far as the JV, one of the names that Steve didn't say was Vela at running back.
Yeah.
Every time I see him play, he's explosive. You know what I mean? He's not very tall, but you look at him, he's stout and he's fast, and he hides right behind those big linemen. And once he finds his hole, he's gone. But he stays behind him until he finds his hole, and he's quick. He's quick, but once he sees it, he hits it fast. You know what I mean? And coming out of the backfield, and you talked about Aiden Moreno. Aiden Moreno, great quarterback, but I mean, I think he's a better linebacker. You know what I mean? You see him at linebacker, and he tears it up. You know what I'm saying? And you got Ryder Winstein back there, at linebacker too. I mean, you got a lot of good players on that JV team as well that are coming up. You know what I mean? So, we talk about graduating a lot of people this year, but we got so many more guys coming up, and they're running, at the same place. So they're gonna come up with that experience. You know what I'm saying? Of learning, of knowing the play. So I think that's a good thing. The way they run the freshman and JV, and it's just looking really good. It's looking bright. I think that both freshmen and JV do have a really good chance of winning district. I think the big game for them is the same big game for us is that Sinton game. You know what I mean? That's going to be a big game for all divisions. So I can't wait, and I know I'm pretty sure they can't wait. I know we're hyping up that game for the varsity, but I know those freshmen in JV they want to win first on Thursday. So we'll see what those boys could do if they can start off the wins for us. That'll hype the varsity up.
Absolutely, Johnny. Your thoughts? Have any thoughts on the freshman JV?
I haven't seen them play at all this year, but it's pretty exciting hearing this. I mean, we have siblings playing underneath them from the varsity squad. We all know what the older ones can do. So I like hearing these siblings down at the bottom, because they're always going to come the same way, same attitude. They're brought up the same way at home, so that's the same way they're going to come out in that field, man. It's respect pretty much. You're going to have those same kids. The older ones I know a little bit more. I've already ran into them sometimes, so they've been my neighbors. So it's very exciting, hearing the freshmen playing like this, and the JV, man, they sound like they're just putting shutout lights. This is very exciting for the program coming up. I like hearing this talent that's going on to the JV level. Hey, Steve's still young. They could be playing up top. They could be pulled anytime.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And hey, it wouldn't hurt to help that kickoff team. With these playmakers.
Listen, Johnny.
Hey, listen, Gabe. Real quick, I'm going to mention this kid's name, man. I think probably in the next couple of years, he's going to be mentioned in the same breath as Peyton McAllister. Gio Rotundi. His name is Gio Rotundi. All right, he plays middle linebacker for the JV, and he's doing an amazing job. He looks really good in coverage, kind of like Krupa. It's almost like a hybrid. He covers well like Krupa and tackles well like Peyton. So keep an eye out and ear out for Gio Rotundi. He plays middle linebacker for the JV. He's been doing pretty good. I like him.
Giovanni? Is his name Giovanni?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah, Giovanni. Yeah. He's good. He runs the ball good too. He ran the ball for JV last year. Yeah, he's a good kid.
What number is he, Steve?
Yeah.
What number is he?
35.
35.
35.
All right. Well, listen, guys. I know we're taking a little bit longer, but I do want to show some love to the freshmen JV. These guys play tough. We spend a lot of time on the varsity, but we do want to give out. And I know Steve goes to the games a lot and watches these guys. And it's good to bring these guys up. This is the future of the Rockport-Fulton Pirates, right? Varsity. They'll be playing on Friday nights, man. And so we want to, also talk about these teams every week when we do this podcast. And if there's a guy, a player, offense, defense that has a big game on the freshman JV, we'll definitely want to bring their names out and let the public and community know what's coming up in the future with our freshmen and JV. Listen, our freshmen are 2-1 right now. They're looking really good. Our JV's 3-0 going into the games. I think our JV, if I saw correctly, our freshmen will be playing tomorrow. They'll be traveling to Goliad to play the Goliad Tigers. Our JV will be playing, I think, at home against Ingleside. They're going to be playing Ingleside, but I don't know if they're going to be playing at home. Or you can look it up. You can look it up, Tony, right now. I hope I'm telling you right. I saw that early this morning. I was still half asleep when I got to work. But I saw it. I think I saw the freshmen going to Goliad tomorrow, and I think our JV was going to play Ingleside at home. Is that correct? You're on mute.
It says at 6:00. The JV plays Ingleside here, so
So that's correct. So if you're not doing anything, I know Goliad's a little bit far. I'm going to try to get out to Goliad and tomorrow. I'm not sure if I can make it out there, but I'm going to try to make it out there and live stream the game. Hopefully I can and get a freshman on video. I got them on scrimmage. I can't get both of them because they're playing in different spots, but I think I'm going to try to travel out there. If I can get out early from work, go to Goliad. If I can, I'll try to make the game here. JV and see what happens. But just want to give some love out. We're going to be doing this every week, spending some time talking about our freshman and JV football squads as well, and some of the players that are on there and the big plays that they're making on Thursday evenings. Johnny, I'd like to go to you next. Johnny, I don't know what you got, but it's Johnny's breakdown to the other teams in the district. We've got Raymondville Bearkats, Sinton Pirates, Rio Hondo Bobcats, Ingleside Mustangs, West Oso Bears, Robstown Cottenpickers, and Port Isabel Tarpons. Listen, if you could just kind of break down, Johnny, what's going on with these guys, their record, whatever you have, and what teams do you think? And I'll go around the table. But Johnny, we'll start off with you. What are these teams doing? But before you start, Johnny, does anybody want to change? You've got this Wednesday and next Wednesday.
Hey.
We made our picks before on who we thought would be the 4 teams in this district to make the playoffs. You've got tonight. And one more time on Wednesday, if you want to change your picks. Anybody want to change, take a team out, put another team in 3 weeks into the season?
I'll let you guys go first.
No?
I'm taking Raymondville out.
Okay.
And I'm putting Port Isabel in that spot. But
Woo.
I like the way they're playing. And right now I got Port Isabel at number 3 and I got Ingleside at number 4. But I want to see how Ingleside does against Gonzalez. And if they don't have to win that game, but if they play that game competitively, I put them at number 3. But right now I'm going to put Ingleside at 4, even though even though they're 2-0, Port Isabel's 3-0. I like that record better. So right now I got Port Isabel at 3 and I'm kicking Raymondville out. Raymondville doesn't make the playoffs.
So who do you got, Tony? You got Rockport at 1, Sinton 2?
Yep. Port Isabel and Ingleside.
All right. Steve, you making any changes?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, not absolutely. I mean, but yes, I am.
Yeah, West Oso at 3.
So I'm moving up West Oso to no, I'm gonna take out West Oso. West Oso's I'm not gonna put them in my top 4. And then I'm gonna be honest, I think I love the coach down there. I think I'm gonna take out Ingleside. I'm gonna make room for so it'll be Rockport, Rockport, Sinton, Rio Hondo, and Port Isabel. I think we're gonna split it. I think it's gonna be half Valley and half Coastal Bend.
Wow.
Woo, you still got 1 week. You still got next week. We'll see what happens. Steve still got next week to change it if he wants to. Johnny, are you making any changes?
Yeah. So we got only till next week, huh?
Sure.
Whew.
You can change your mind.
For sure, Sinton and Rockport. Sinton, Rockport, Ingleside.
In that order?
Damn, you're right.
Rockport,
You just
Ingleside.
said that. And we're live.
And dude, this sucks because Raymondville plays Port Isabel after us.
Raymondville plays Port Isabel. Yeah, okay.
So that's like tight right there. I can't compete. The Ravenville's not playing anybody this week either.
We still got next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ravenville's not playing nobody.
So who do you got right now?
You still got next week. Yeah, it's not going to change much from this week to next week. You're right.
So who do you got right now? You said you got Sinton, then Rockport, and then who else?
Yeah.
Ingleside. Chihuahua. That's tough, guy. It's a Valley team.
Okay, so let me get
But he
this
did
straight.
say Sinton
over
first.
Rockport?
He
That's
did
what
say
he said.
Sinton first, mind you.
It has to be one of the Valley teams.
Is he ignoring? Is he ignoring?
I
You
do.
don't wanna
I'll see. I don't know. I can't even see who the Valley teams play this week.
Okay. So you still got till next week, though. You still got till next week. So next week we'll talk about it and we'll finalize it because that's the last time. We'll finalize it one more time. It'll be on the record. It'll be on the video, and then we can't change it from there. Hey, Johnny, I'm gonna keep mine the same. I'm gonna wait till next week. Right now, I've got Rockport-Fulton, Sinton Pirates. I've got Raymondville, and then I've got Ingleside at 4. But I got one more week. I'll take a look at what we do, and I think I am gonna make a change. But I'll wait till next Wednesday, the final Wednesday, that we can make changes. Hey, let's go down, Johnny. Let's break down the teams, and then we'll go around the table. Talk about the 7 teams, where they at. We already talked about who we think are going to make the playoffs, but if you can kind of break down where's everybody at right now, early on in the season in our district.
Well, this is all, of course, preseason records. Port Isabel's at 3-0. They did beat AP last week, 41-7. Ingleside had a bye, so they're sitting at that 2-0. Sitting at 2-1. They're 34-30 lost to Miller. Rio Hondo sitting at 2-1. They lost 33-13 against Rivera. Then you have Ravenville at 2-1. They won over Lyford 30-14. And Robstown's at 2-1 with their 34-29 over Banquete. Yeah, Banquete. And West Oso at the very bottom at the 0-3 record. Barely losing 16-13 against San Diego.
Yeah.
Again, this is all preseason, so everything could shuffle around up there.
So what I saw, Gabe, was that the state rankings, they moved a little bit today. Rockport actually moved up a little bit, and which I was surprised that that they finally decided to move us up out of the dungeon. But so Sinton dropped down, and this is all off of Max Preps. Sinton dropped down to I believe it's 21. Rockport moved up like 3 spots from the depths of hell to 41, I think 41, 40 something. And then everybody else is behind us. The next one behind us as far as state rank is Ingleside. I think Ingleside's like one or two rankings above Rio Hondo for whatever reason. So they still got Rio Hondo, and then no, I'm sorry. Rio Hondo's there, which they should be, and then Raymondville. Raymondville is the one that I was kind of surprised that they were still ranked pretty high. So all those teams are still in the top 50 right now, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but that's what I saw.
Tony, anything you want to add with these teams that are in the district right now? Any dark horse, any teams that you think we're not talking about that's kind of impressed you early on in this season?
One of the things that I was looking at, I don't see Robstown have playing any games yet. So, did y'all see that?
No.
Anybody? I don't show Rockport. I mean Robstown playing any games. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I mean, we might not know. We don't know what Robstown got. I mean, from what I've seen on Max Prep, they haven't played a game this season yet. I tried looking at their schedule and I didn't find a schedule for them. So I don't know what's going on over there. But what I'm gonna say about West Oso is West Oso's played against some pretty decent teams. San Diego and Taft and I think their first game was Odom. So West Osa's played against some pretty tough teams, and we're talking about 3A, but they're pretty big teams in 3A. So it's really hard. It's really hard to gauge right now how well West Osa will compete against some of these other teams in our district. You know what I mean? So West Osa could win some football games this year. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I know they got some talent down there. I remember watching the interview with their coach. He said he's got some pretty good players down there. So we'll see what West Osa does. I don't know if they make the playoffs. And, I don't have them picked to make the playoffs, but I mean, you never know. Like I said, they played against some pretty good 3A teams for the preseason.
I'm gonna give a love to the Cotton Pickers. Their last win was the only win, was at 34-29 against Baquete. Now Baquete was playing on a shutout season. They have 2 shutouts this year. I'm not saying who, but they have 2 shutouts. So Robstown did score some runs on this team that could shut out people.
Well, they lost to King in week 1. Robstown did 28-7. Then they beat Valpurias in week 2, 14-6. And then they beat Banquetti last week in week 3, 34-29. So that's how they're 2-1.
Okay, so you found it.
Yeah. So that's where they're at. So I mean, and we're going to do this every Wednesday. Johnny's going to break down for us just to kind of let us know what's going on as we get close to the playoffs. And then, Johnny, the other thing I'd like for you to do, talk a little bit about the 4A Division II Region 4. So I don't know what you have for us. I know I just kind of, spun it on you before we started the podcast, but do you have anything on District 13, 14? I mean, we're District 16, but, these are teams that will play, that will have to beat to get out of the region this year. What's going on in District 13, 14, and 15? Anything you got this week that you can tell us?
Yeah, in District 13, again, all preseason, Quails at 3-0. They had a 28-12 win over Yoakum. Smithville's at 2-1, a 38-24 over Highlands. Navasota's at 2-1, a 63-21 over Mexia. LaGrange at 1-2, a 28-20 loss to Lavernia. That was a good one. 1-2 is Gonzales with a 42-18 loss to Fredericksburg. And rounding out that district is an 0-3 Giddings, a 48-28 loss to Taylor. And then on to District 14, the strongest district in the state, is Wimberley leading the pack at Wimberley's at 2-1. They had a 45-21 win over Lampasas. Navarro 2-1, a 48-28 win over Deedville. Then you have the strong Austin Achieve with the 37-6 over Base. Here I am talking about the lower part of that district. Austin got their first win against a Base team that's only scored 4 points a game and only has 2 wins in the last 3 seasons. Then you have Young Men's Leadership Academy with a 63-14 loss to Divine. Maynard Tech, a 54-0 loss to Carrizo Springs. And basically District 15, they basically played the District 14 this past week. Again, Carrizo Springs leading that pack at 3-0. That 54-0 over Maynard. 3-0 is Divine, the 63-14 over the YMNA that I mentioned. 2-1 Bandera, 21-0 over Cove. Then you rounding off with Hondo at 0-2, a 38-20 loss to Uvalde. 0-3 Pearsall, a 50-0 loss to Beeville. 0-3 Crystal City, a 28-0 loss to Zapata. And that District 15 the last one I just mentioned, that's going to be the district that we face in the first round, 16 versus 15.
That's Hondo, Crystal City, those guys, right?
Right. Basically,
Okay.
the way, if preseason was a thing, it would be Carrizo Springs, Divine, Bandera, and one of the bottom three because they're all 0-3.
Wow. Well, and listen, thank you for breaking it down. We're going to do that. Just a quick breakdown. Johnny's going to be doing that every week for us. Just kind of letting the Pirate Cove people, the followers, the fans, know what's going on in our district as every week we get closer to the playoffs. Johnny will kind of break down what the other teams in our district are doing, and then what the other teams like Cuero and District 13, 14, and 15 are doing. This is really good, guys. And finally, the last thing we'll talk about is the volleyball team. I was watching our volleyball girls. They had a first district game today against Calhoun, and I was watching on my monitor here while we've been on the podcast, and I think they won 3-1. I think they won set 1 and set 2, and then set 3 they lost to Calhoun, but they take it in set 4. So I think they win 3-1 tonight. They played at home against Calhoun, a team that, Calhoun was ahead of Rockport in the district last year. They get the first win against Calhoun. Of course, they're going to play them again in round 2, but great win for our Lady Pirates as they take the first district game. What a way to start out the district. And so, as I said earlier in the podcast, we're going to have next Wednesday 2 of our Lady Pirates volleyball team varsity players, Kaylee Skinner and Lauren Moore, will be here on the podcast, on the Pirates Cove podcast next Wednesday at 7:00. So be waiting for that. We'll upload the video the next day on Thursday at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So tune in when we upload it on the GT Sports YouTube channel and listen to what these girls have to say. I mean, the expectation, guys, is high about, these girls should be winning district. That's what the expectation is. And it's a great start for them as they take the 1-0 in district. They beat a good Calhoun team tonight in Rockport. So I'll pass it over to you guys. Tony, anything you want to add about our volleyball girls?
No, I mean just just in listening to the interview I had with Elena and Peyton and
Anyhow,
how you know what I mean? Yeah, the expectations are high, and I think Johnny pointed out that they were ranked pretty high in state. So, uh, no, I mean I just as a Pirate fan, I just can't wait to see how they end up. At the end of this season, and but just like any other sport, take it one game at a time. Just a great way to start district play. The defeat with the win over Calhoun.
yes, sir. Steve?
Hey, so listen, for one, I'm excited that the strides that the volleyball team has taken this year. We had Coach Jeffrey on early in the season, and he talked about their inability to get over the hump to play full matches. And it seems like the girls, throughout all those experiences they gained last year, throughout the downfalls and stuff, and falling short of what they wanted to do, seems like they've gained experience from it and are fully out to show that to not just the district but to everybody else. So kudos to them for soaking all that in, because losing is an experience. Losing is part of winning. You cannot learn to win until you learn to lose. And I understand that to the fullest. So that's a great job by those ladies. And actually, to tell you the truth, I'm super excited about this interview. I want to see if I can put a face to a voice, because I know these girls come out, the volleyball team comes out to the football games on Fridays, and they all stand together, and they're usually standing. They never sit, and they're right on the edge of the gate, and they're loud, and they're obnoxious. I want to see about putting a face to this voice that I hear bellowing out on the football field. So I don't know it for certain if it's one of these girls or not, but I will know when I see her. So I'm anxious to see, about putting this face to a voice and to see if this is the person that I think it is. that I hear out on Friday nights at the stadium. And so we'll see. I think that's going to be lots of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Johnny, before I go to you, I just want to say the freshmen, I don't know if they won tonight, but they're on a 10-game win streak. They have a total record this season of 10-2. So Coach Clark started out at 0-2. And since then, she's gone on a 10-game win streak with her freshman squad, and they have a total record of 10-2. So the freshmen are off to a great start. I don't know if they won. We'll find out till tomorrow, but definitely up until playing this game, their full record is 10-2. So congratulations to Coach Clark and the wonderful job she's doing at that freshman level. For our JV, they're 9-3. Don't know if they won tonight either, but Coach Rob is doing an awesome job. They're at 9-3. And then, of course, our varsity won tonight, started the district called 1-0, and they have a total record of 16-6. Well, you know what? I take it back. It says that
I got a
I don't know. It says it's 2-2, a tie.
No.
I don't know what that means. Anybody know what that means?
They're going to the 5th match then.
That's what it says. I thought they won, but I was trying to pay attention. I was on a podcast, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's saying right now that it's a tie, but not sure. That's what the Rockport app has. So I'll check it up tomorrow morning, and I'll put something down for final. I'll get confirmation to see what the girls did. I thought they had already won, so I apologize. The Rockport app has them at tie, but it can't be at the tie because they played 5 sets, so somebody had to win, I think. But I'll get confirmation from the coaches, and I'll write it in on the Pirates Cove tomorrow. I won't put anything down till I get the actual confirmation on the final. But I do believe that Rockport won the match, but I'll find out in the morning. So, guys, that's all we've got. I know it's a little longer, Matt. Thank you for hanging in. Go ahead, Johnny.
I wanted to add to the volleyball. Man, I thought you already said that they already won. I was already marking it down over here.
Man, from what I saw, I think they did, but on the Rockport app, it has 2-2 tie.
You got to win. You got to win 3 sets.
I think they did.
You got to win 3 sets, not 2.
Right. But the Rockport app, when I looked at it, it says 2-2. It has a final at 2-2. We know that can't happen. What I saw here, final on the scoreboard, we won the last match, but I wasn't paying attention completely because I was on the podcast. So I think we won, but it doesn't say that on the Rockport app. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can look through Max Prep. Max Prep will probably have it by now, but I'm pretty sure Rockport won. But I'm just saying that's not what's written on the Rockport app. So I want to get confirmation before I say something that's not accurate. But Max Prep should have it. I'm pretty sure Rockport won, but that's just not what they're showing on the Rockport-Fulton app. It can end in a tie.
I mean, one thing I wanted to mention is they did come into this game as a warm-up thing, beating Kingsville 3-0, 25-15, 27-15, 25, and 25-8. Hopefully they come out with this win. But their next games are this Ingleside on Friday. Then our next home games next Tuesday against West Oso. These games already started district last Friday. That's one thing I didn't know. It wasn't this Tuesday. They started last Friday. So a lot of these teams have 2 games already under their belts. Basically, Rockport had that first round bye. Sinton had this second round bye. So you're looking at Beeville at top of the district at 2-0. Sinton's 1-0, and hopefully Rockport's 1-0. We're talking about Tony was talking about the state ranking of the girls. That 2 and 5 week kind of brought them all the way down to 24. But now they climbed up back to number 20. They're sitting at going into tonight's game, they're sitting at the 17-8 mark. Again, I don't know if that was a win or not, but hopefully it is because we need that win to stay on top. West Oso, I'm telling you, West Oso could do it in volleyball. They did beat Ingleside last Friday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. To me, I thought they won. I mean, I saw the final scoreboard here, and then they shut it down. But to me, from what I was keeping, I had it on mute. It seemed like Rockport had won and taken and wanted. But then I looked at the app just now, and it says 2-2. So I don't know if it's been updated. Maybe it just hasn't been updated. I'm not sure, but I will find out. Tune in to the Pirates Cove Facebook page tomorrow. Once I get confirmation from Coach Jeffries, I'll definitely put it on. I won't put anything until I get the confirmation, but yeah, I think they won, guys. But let's just wait till tomorrow. So that concludes the episode 33 on the Pirates Cove. I know we went a little longer, guys. Thank you very much, but I did want to get the JV and freshmen in there, and you guys did an awesome job in bringing up the players, and I think that's what people want to know and hear us do, is not only break down the varsity but our freshmen and JV. I know we didn't get to the JV and freshman girls today. Don't really know if they won, but next Wednesday maybe we can talk about what they did this weekend. So thanks a lot, today, I'm sorry, on Wednesday. So thanks a lot, guys. I think I'm going to be at the Goliad. I think I'm going to travel to Goliad tomorrow to watch the freshmen if I can get off early. If not, I'll be here in Ingleside to live stream the JV game. And then, of course, on Friday, Steve and I will be traveling to Taft on the Gridiron 64. We'll be down there early. We'll stop off and get something to eat in Taft, and then we'll be at the game. So you guys to catch it, we'll be in Taft on Friday, and we'll start live streaming at 7:10. It's on GT Sports. It's a Gridiron 64 crew that will be there, but it'll be live streamed on GT Sports Facebook page, GT Sports. So tune in, as there's two great teams that'll be on Friday. Taft Greyhounds will be hosting the Kennedy Lions at the 3-0 each, guys. And then I will see you guys back on Monday for the Gridiron 64 podcast. Still working on trying to bring in a coach. I sent a couple of emails out. Haven't received anything back on some of the coaches, but once I get confirmation on one of the coaches, I'll give you guys a text on our chat group, Gridiron 64, and let you know who the next coach will be on Monday, so you guys can prepare for the questions. So until then, guys, have a great evening, and maybe I'll see you guys out tomorrow at the JV game if I don't go to Goliad. Have a great night, guys. Peace out.
Good night.